Okay, so as I said, how many people here write software in one language or the other? This weekend. Okay, that's like half of them. The other half, you are more like people who are interested. You're just curious about what's happening here. Okay. So I'm on the right track. I intentionally made this non-technical. What I would really love to do is to get to the question and answer part so that I can actually get more questions from you. So my talk is about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, how useful can it be to developers? Has anybody heard about Bitcoin? Heard anything at all? That's like a quarter of the room, so, okay. Yeah. I mean, put yourself in my shoes. You know what I'm saying? Kids saw this. They asked me, what's this? I said it's money. And that's my answer to you. Bitcoin is money. It's a form of money. But the tricky thing is, it's digital money. It's money that is not tangible. You cannot hold it, but you can still use it. That's the good and the bad. Unlike PayPal, Bitcoin is distributed. So it's like peer-to-peer torrenting. There's a lot of whose machines process what's going on. Sorry about that. All the transactions in the Bitcoin. Okay, yep. So because of that, no one can be locked out of the system. It's purely distributed, like JIT. It's like BitTorrent, like I said. So I hope we're starting off on the right foot. I'm very sure, none of what I'll show you will clear up your questions. When we get to the question and answer part, and I think that's where we can really discuss and get interesting views from everybody. But yeah, so Bitcoin is simply a form of money. Up to now, you're thinking, well, so why does this concern me? Why should I be thinking about this? We're all living right here. And I think you agree with me that when it comes to money on the internet, finances, Africa is treated just like WikiLeaks. If you're filling any form, how many people have tried signing up for PayPal? You were just blissfully ignorant and you tried. Yeah. Sometimes they let you go all the way to the point where you enter the country. After entering all your details, you enter the country and they kick you out. You can have a valid card, Visa card or MasterCard with your own money on it. It's not even a credit card. It's your hard-earned money, but the way that you spend it is that simple. They did a similar thing to WikiLeaks way back, I think 7 years ago. WikiLeaks took PayPal, MasterCard, and Visa to court, and they actually won. It was illegal for them to refuse to process their payments. It's kind of illegal for them to do it against us, but this is why she cared, because Bitcoin is one of the payment systems that will not discriminate against Africans because it's distributed. There's no one party. I can't go and report to Visa or the Bitcoin. There's no such thing as the Bitcoin headquarters. It's distributed. Okay? That's why you should care about it. Another thing, it's also very fast. I remember recently I tried doing a wire transfer out of the country. I made the payment and 3 days later I checked my account and they still had not done the wire transfer. I was not really happy because usually when you're trying to do payments, you want to do it what? Fast. You want to do it instantly. It's the same when you're receiving payments as a content creator. You've made something that's selling and you want to receive payment. You want it to come instantly. And Bitcoin, it goes just like email. You send it, it's there. It's instant. And there is nobody that can roll it back. It's one way. It just goes and that's it. As a content creator, it's good for you. There is also a lot of plugins that you can find as developers for any of the numerous platforms that will help you. I think a more interesting part would be to take a look at the people who are using Bitcoin. When you visit, I think Namecheap, they have this banner like all the websites usually do. but they have this new one added, Namecheap.com. Look at the bottom. This is the Bitcoin side. They accept Bitcoin. You can buy domain names, hosting, and I've done that for a few pet projects. I started with some people on Twitter. But yeah, it's really convenient to do that. Here's also a list of people who have started using Bitcoin. Very interesting one is WordPress, WordPress.com. They released a blog. I think later on you can Google it up and read it. And one fact they stated that was, I thought was really striking, was the fact that your website can reach over 200 countries. But your payment system, no matter what you choose, will likely not reach all 200. I think you agree with that fact, right? Everybody can browse your website, but not everybody can pay. And we've been in that position of the deprived or the discriminated against. You know, you have a card, you want to buy something, they won't let you spend it. Well, WordPress adopted Bitcoin because of that, because PayPal alone blocks over 60 countries. 60 countries are blocked by PayPal. Some of them, like Nigeria and Ghana, because of the high fraud rates of a few people who try to scam people all the time. But it doesn't mean everybody's doing fraud. They just won't let anybody use it. So WordPress adopted Bitcoin. They have a really insightful blog about why they chose Bitcoin. Namecheap, they also accept Bitcoin for the same reason. More people in more places can get access to it. You have the Bitcoin store. It's sort of like eBay, same for Bitcoin. So as eBay, you can buy stuff and you pay with Bitcoin. We have VPN and all these privacy companies that accept Bitcoin. It turns out that if you're buying VPN, usually you're trying to have some privacy. You don't want, what they call it, National Security Authority, NSA, right? Those who are spying on your email. Yeah, I don't want them, to know what you're doing. So you buy VPN and then you browse with your VPN. Well, it turns out if you use your card, to buy the VPN, whatever IP address they allocate to you can be tracked, back to you. So it's just a little difficult. But if they wanted to, they could find out who you were that used that particular website at that time. And we're in the days where even Google, your Google search history is admissible in court as evidence against you. Even for something you didn't do, maybe you were talking about bombs and you go, okay, fast forward 10 years, something happens and, they will find in your search history, you were the one who Googled it in this whole area, and the bomb was right here. You are the suspect. So privacy, Bitcoin is anonymous, and nobody can track it back to you. So all these VPN companies they accept Bitcoin. The really good one is, I think, Mova. They strictly accept Bitcoin, and once you pay for it, you don't even have your name, email, nothing with them. You send, they'll tell you, send a Bitcoin payment to this address. You send it. They make a code available to you, which you can use to browse always without anything traced back to you. And an interesting one I missed was Reddit. Look, Reddit is really huge, and they've also adopted Bitcoin. In fact, on their post, anybody can post and comment. You can tip them Bitcoin right on their post. They have a really good blog explaining why they adopted it, and I think they will do a better job than me. But I'm trying to just stir your curiosity and introduce something new to you. How many people are familiar with the Khan Academy? You've heard about it, right? Yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah, Khan Academy, they also just started accepting Bitcoins recently. When you go to their website, they have a good explanation there. It's all text. I can't paste it here, but yeah, now you know it exists. You can look it up and read more about it. There's this cool app called Gift. If you have an Android phone, you should check it out and download it. Gift allows you to buy a lot of gift cards. Amazon, it's like over 200 gift cards. And when you buy the gift card, so last time I was trying to buy, I think Verizon credit or something for somebody in the US. And all I did was I used Bitcoin, bought the gift card for Verizon, T-Mobile was, yeah. And then I loaded the code into their phone and it went. That was really, really cool. So you can get all these gift cards. And what people are doing now is, you can walk across the border. I have no money on me, I'm broke. But I have Bitcoin, the password is in your head. You walk in, you download this app and quickly you enter any shop or you go to McDonald's, you just buy a McDonald's or a gift card and you buy and pay for your food and you go. you're still broke. You can walk in there, buy a car, buy an apartment, anything if you have enough money. So that's how cool it is. You also know WikiLeaks, they accept donations. As you can see, you have a credit card, PayPal, Bitcoin. They accept that. It really helped them when they were blocked out by MasterCard, Visa, and PayPal. And then when you go to Caribbean, you see this thing, that new thing. Yeah, that's Bitcoin. It's anonymous, so they like it. They've received a lot of donations. The last time I checked, they got like 20,000 in one day or something. So yeah, they've also adopted it. So for integration, those who are, curious, go to coinbase.com/merchants. There's more details there. All they give you is a little button you can put on any content you create, and whoever presses the button gets an address to which they can pay, and you receive the money. You can withdraw it to a bank account, and all they charge is 1%. I know there's some payment processing people in the room, but I think they will vouch for me that 1% is unheard of. You can't make profit doing 1%, but because Bitcoin is distributed, there's not much cost associated with it. It's 1%. And even better, if you receive your payments and you choose to just withdraw the raw Bitcoins, you don't pay anything, it's zero. And you can convert it to cash, whatever currency you want, wherever you are. There's a lot of people in Ghana who are even exchanging. Go online and Google it. Buy Bitcoin in Ghana, you'll find people to exchange it for you. It's that simple. So if you are curious, we want more info, just visit any of these websites, write it down, bookmark it, whatever, and then get it later. And what I do on Twitter is, for my friends, basically to start you off, if you tweet your Bitcoin address at me, I'll send you some Bitcoin. And then you can use it to buy a domain name. I'll send you like $15. Namecheap sells their domain names for $7. You can easily buy 2 or 3 domain names or hosting at Namecheap with Bitcoin that I'll send you. So just tweet it to me. I'm Mawuli, on Twitter. Just tweet your Bitcoin address to me. I'll reply with some $15 you can use on Namecheap. And that's it. Okay, this is the part I think will be best. Okay, questions? Yeah, sure.
Like you were saying, referring to the bomb.
Yeah.
Now, we are supposed to live in an open world, but it's also a dangerous world. How is Bitcoin going to be regulated? Because if it's good for you, it's also good for the terrorists. Yeah. So where is the level playing field where we can use Bitcoin safely, or no terrorists can use Bitcoin to create the actual bomb?
Okay, I see. So my question for you, or my answer for you, do you know, they say research proves every $100 bill, at least over 70% of them have traces of cocaine. Do you know that? Over 70% have traces of cocaine. You know what that means? They are using it. Your question you're asking is, okay, how can we regulate the money so that cocaine dealers cannot use the cash? It's not possible.
Well, there's
Bitcoin is like that. It can't be regulated because it's distributed. There's no one in control. It's decentralized, purposefully so. Yeah, sure.
So, since it's decentralized, how do you manage currency arbitrage?
Okay, arbitrage from between currencies.
Between currencies, yeah.
Yeah, you do that on exchanges. There are exchanges that.
Yeah, so I can buy it in dollars tomorrow and keep it, and then sell it in euros if the euros
easily.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the year, so a year ago, let me backtrack. 1 Bitcoin was worth $1. Way back, it was in fact, you bought 1 pizza for 10,000 Bitcoins. 1 year ago, 1 Bitcoin was worth $1. So you see that increased value. Now, at the beginning of this year, it was about $25. 1 Bitcoin is $25. As I'm speaking to you right now, 1 Bitcoin is worth about $120. So as you can see, it's appreciating, and people do that. They just buy, keep it for a year or two and sell it. So the guy who bought pizza with his Bitcoin, 10,000 Bitcoins, could actually own several $1 million right now if he had kept it. Yeah, sure. I think this is the important part of the presentation, so please allow the questions. Thank you.
Yeah, concerning the anonymity, the Bitcoin address, I think most of the regulators are now seeing the advantage of actually identifying the owners of it. So you realize that, some of the Bitcoin websites were shut down due to those hacks and the rest. But now, some of them, like the last time I opened the Bitcoin account, you actually have to snap a picture of yourself holding your card, either your passport or whatever, together with the picture. And then they take about 3 days to validate and make sure it is you before they sign up for that. So I think that anonymity aspect of it is now back like the way the banks are. They have to identify the customer.
So they became scared because since no one regulates it, people can actually transfer huge sums of money without anybody tracing them. Who here has ever tried transferring more than $10,000 across borders? You get on their radar, they will call you, they will ask you to fill so many forms, your mother's name, your father's name, your grandfather, how many kids they have, all of these things because they're trying to avoid money laundering. And Bitcoin, makes that easy. I can walk in broke and I have $1 million in Bitcoin I can easily use anywhere. So they were trying to avoid that. But to buy Bitcoins, there's a site called local Bitcoin. Just Google, buy Bitcoins in Ghana. There's, several people you can meet who you meet face to face, you give them cash, they give you Bitcoin, nobody knows about it. And for anonymity, each person is entitled to over 100 million Bitcoin addresses. So typically how it works is, if I'm transacting business with you, for what you are buying, I'll give you one Bitcoin address that's unique. You send the money there, and I, take it off, and you don't know where the money went. But I know I got it, and you get back what you want. So you never know. No one has just one address, so you can never tell who is using which address at what time. That's how cool it is. There was one here, and then you are sure.
How is the money created?
How is the money created? So it's basically, as I told you, it's just software. There was agreed that there will be 11 million pieces of this Bitcoin, 21 million to be specific, sorry, 21 million pieces, and that is it. And as I told you, it's decentralized. So on everybody's machine is what we call a blockchain, or it's just a ledger of, this address has this many coins, this address has this many coins. It's on everybody's machine. So it's decentralized, and it's those records that determine who has what Bitcoin at what time. So it's not physical, as I hope that answered it. It's quite complex, and I'm happy we are not going into the complexity. Take your time and read all about it. It's built on very strong mathematics and cryptography, and so you can easily go down the rabbit hole and keep reading for years. Yeah, sure.
All right. I am at Buy Bitcoins with Cash near Accra. That's where I am.
Sure.
You got 2 spaces there. Does it mean that one Bitcoin is 107 US dollars? Is that what the
Exactly, that's what I said. A year ago it was $1 to $1. Right. Today it's $100.
Unbelievable.
So I think a few months back, what happened was it went up to $250 and then came down back to 100. So it's quite volatile. So when you hold it, you are holding risk. But the probability that it will increase is higher than that it will come down, because as more people use it, it gains value. That's a different thing to explain later, but if anybody asks, I'll answer.
So it really doesn't act like a bond, but in some form or fashion, it's a piece, it's a trade piece that has money in back of it.
Well, the reason why it increases, which you are wondering, is...
I'm wondering
it's the same reason as the reason why this thing depreciates. So I was looking at this, I got a couple of these, and I noticed the numbers were all serial, like, it's 260, 66, 67, 68. You know what that means? They printed lots of these.
Yes, they did.
Good. And they do print billions of these every month. Go and Google it, you'll see they are printing lots of money. And when they print lots of money, what happens is that the value of the money goes down and down and down. In Ghana's history, one president came, I think Kotoka or Achampong, or Tubeji Gov. He told the Bank of Ghana guys to print money or they'll die. So they printed so much money that, it was useless. Zimbabwe, they now have about 5 billion Zimbabwean dollar notes you can use to buy bread. So when you print more money, it goes down. But when you don't print more, it means you fix it. What happens is the value goes up and up. And so that's why Bitcoin increases in value.
21 million,
because it's just a fixed amount, but the people who are using increases. So what happens? The value will keep going up and up and up. That's why. So it's it's expected The value of one
And
Bitcoin.
they have decided they will cap it at 21 million.
It's actually fixed on math. Nobody can increase it. It's capped forever. It's cryptography math. It's like, it's locked. Nobody can ever increase it anywhere. And that's why it increases in value as more people use it. So, yeah, there's one question here. This is the presentation.
This is amazing.
Yeah, so at first I thought I had 20 minutes. I ready to give that guy a lot of time, so please give me some. Okay, yeah.
You know how much so if I want to find out the total amount of Bitcoins held by Ghanaians or people in Ghana, can you give me
No, that's not final because there's no central. So personally, after Liberty Reserve was shut down, for the same reason, it was a centralized system. So when they arrested a guy, the next day, website was down. Looks like after they arrested him, tortured him, whatever, they gave them password. But yeah, centralized systems, they get closed down all the time. And the US closed them down without me taking them to court. They just close them down and they are not prosecuting the guy. But Bitcoin, there's no one, it's like BitTorrent. I mean, Hollywood has tried to kill BitTorrent because we've been torrenting movies. But after 10 years, it still exists. They've not succeeded, and it's similar with Bitcoin because, I mean, you can kill one here, another appears over there, kill one here, another appears over there. It's processed by decentralized computers all over the world, right? When you use a computer, you download what's called a Bitcoin client, and you run it. You also start processing, Bitcoin transactions. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's no way to know because it's decentralized. That's why it can be blocked.
Are you a millionaire standing here?
Yeah, more than that.
Really?
There was one question over here. Wow. Can I plead for 5 more? Then we'll finish. Yeah, 5 more, please. 5 more. This is the presentation. Yeah, this is the
time is money.
Yeah. I know I was supposed to talk.
About money.
I know I was supposed to talk at 11:20. So
all right, last question.
Oh, it's 5. I love 5. Yes.
Like Liberty used to be, we have centers that used to sell them.
Yeah.
Is it the same market price?
Bitcoin, because it's decentralized, anybody can buy and sell. So personally, because I think I was one of the few people who had it at first. So what I do is anybody, like I think when we started, I came today, I gave him some Bitcoin that he started with and he tried it out. So I do that, and I realized after Liberty Reserve died off, more and more people started calling me. I think I'm the only person who's willing to do that. People own it, but they just own it to speculate. But I'm interested in it growing and more people using it. Because when I have more, okay, you call me, I sell it to you, I sell it to you. And tomorrow, if I really want to liquidate my money, I know I have people to sell to. But if I close myself off, I'm not selling to anybody, I'm holding it. Well, if I need to liquidate my money tomorrow, there's nobody because the community is dead. So I've been actively doing that. They text me mobile money, and I text them the Bitcoins, and we're done. We do business. We've not seen each other before.
Final question.
Oh, please, I asked for 5.
Wait, so final question.
Hurry up. How did you start?
This is an amazing idea. I'm blown away by this idea. How did you start? What were you thinking about when you...
Oh, please. Okay. So, yeah, let me just put a disclaimer. I didn't invent this.
No.
But
How did you get involved?
oh, how did I get involved in this? I can't even remember, but I think one thing that I think developers all do when you get tired, you just go online and you Google something that you're interested in and you just read. An interesting place we all visit is Y Combinator. How many people visit Y Combinator, their news site? Yeah, I see there's a few developers. So I usually at the end of the day when I'm tired, I open Twitter, I go to Y Combinator, I read articles, I find interesting things and I just tweet them, And that's how I found out about Bitcoin because more and more people were talking about it. And I read more and more about it. And you know what? One of the fascinating things I still do today, and I might do it today when I go back in the evening or at midnight when there's nobody awake and it's just quiet. I just go to Google and as if I'm a bozo, I just type in Bitcoin to see what's new, what's coming up. And I limit it to, okay, the past 1 month, what's new about Bitcoin on the internet. And I'm telling you, I'm still learning a lot because it's quite sophisticated, very complex math is what holds this thing and keeps it running. So there's so much to keep learning, and I tell you, I still haven't got to like 10%.
And this was developed in Ghana?
No. Where did who did it?
Okay, yeah, so the coup, because it's something that is basically, if it succeeds, basically what it's doing is it's taking power away from the American government to print money and fight wars. Because now people are using a currency that you can't just print arbitrarily and make money, right? Because today, I'm telling you, if the US says, oh, we need to buy this new jet, but we are broke, we don't have money, what do? Print more money and buy it. They're the government, they can do it. But when you don't control that anymore, they can't really do that at all. And when they print money, what they do is they're actually taking money out of your pocket because you're holding $100, you can buy this today. But all of a sudden you realize $100 cannot buy this anymore, you need 2 of it. They just stole your money without you realizing it.
Well, that's what they did in Ghana.
So the guy, so the guy who did it,
They said the value was the same. No, the value was never the same.
No, it's never the same. And so the guy who did it kept himself anonymous because this is something that the US government or other governments can imprison you or kill you for.
Is Bitcoin a crusade? Because it sounds like it. I mean,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I think if you've done a little bit of economics, and Bitcoin is a mixture of software, cryptography, and economics, you realize that there are 2 schools of thought about how governments should manage money. And basically, one school of thought is that the money should be fixed. The government should not arbitrarily print money. In fact, there have been papers written about how the money supply rate should be fixed and it should be there forever, which means that you can hold $100 today and 10 years later, you know that it will buy you more because more trade is happening with it and it's still fixed. You don't lose it. But what has won, which is the other school of thought, is that the bank, okay, the central bank, they print money. There's this cool song I was teaching at Sunday school the other day. The kids were singing it, and it struck me. It said, "Silver and gold have I none." You know that song?
Yeah.
Okay, you know why they say silver and gold? Because way back, what they used for money was what? Gold and silver. Then the central banks came, and you had pieces of, paper that represented money, which means, oh, you have $100 of gold in the bank. Well, it got to a point, I think 1979, the US government left the gold standard, which means the money they print is not backed by gold. They've printed over 5 times the amount of gold in the bank. What does that mean? It means that if everybody decided to take their dollars to the bank for the gold that is supposed to represent, we will not all get it. So what we are actually looking at here is just a scam. But it's a popular one.
No, it's absolutely true.
Now here's the thing, whether something is true or false, or whether something will work or not, depends on how many people accept it. And because we all use this, it has its power. For a long time, I think China has been trying to persuade the UN to use a different currency from the American dollar as the global currency for doing business.
Not China. China is in bed with us.
But yeah, so there's, it's complicated economics and cryptography. But yeah, that's what makes the reading interesting, and you should read more. I was wishing to get more Q&A time. That's why I made I deliberately made the presentation very short so we can have more time with the Q&A.
because I have a question.
Yeah, okay. So maybe this one. Are you guys willing to do more questions?
During lunch hour.
During lunch hour. That's great. So we don't derail everybody. But thank you very much. Just send me a Bitcoin address. I'll send you.
And that's your word cloud.
A few dollars.
That's so cool.
Okay, so can we give it up for one?